Let me start off this video by saying you will never make $1 million in a year. But truly realize that the more you play this game, just how physically and statistically impossible it is. And let me put this into perspective. The goal for most of you is to earn $1 million in a year. You want to know what that is numerically? That's not the 1%. That's the top 0.1% of the world. That's where you're trying to enter. That means that all of you watching, at least 99.9% of you, will never become a millionaire, and you're wasting your time watching this video. Let me further on put that into perspective. This is a stadium of about 100,000 people. About 10 of them will become millionaires at random. And all of you watching this, you're thinking, oh, I'm him. I'm that guy. You're not. You're not. Statistically speaking, you're not, right? And you also have to understand that it should be this difficult. It should be this hard. It should be tiring. It should be boring. It should be borderline psychotic to do what the 99.9% of the population does not want to do, so you can enter the 0.1% where everybody wants to be. Think about just how difficult and physically and mentally straining that will become. And by default, you should understand that that filtering process should be that. The filtering process in place right now should be that difficult where the 99.9% don't make it to the end. And I can promise you this, if you listen to this video, I will make you $1 million. Everything you do in this video, I will get you to the $1 million in a year. But I can also make you a second promise. You won't do it. You won't become a millionaire. And I'll start easy. And this will be filtering process number 1, right? I want you to get a job, finish college, and work on your body. I want you to do all 3. Because again, remember, it should be hard. It just should be difficult. And most of you, as soon as I said that, you thought, whoa, that's a lot of work to do there. Damn right it is, right? You, especially when you're young, bro, you should be learning discipline, time management, project delivery. You should be able to juggle multiple things at once because that is what it's gonna take. And you should be able to fill up your plate enough where it's gonna take you time sacrifices and friendship sacrifices and experiences, right? That is how difficult it should be. So if you can't even juggle all 3, the chances of you becoming a millionaire are very thin. They already are thin. But statistically speaking, the easiest way to become a top earner is to get a degree that's a high earner degree. But most of you will take the easy route, right? Most of you will take some easy political science history degree because it's easy. You're just trying to coast on by. And even worse, I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to guys. They'll come up to me and be like, yo, Jose, give me some advice, right? And most of it is like they wanna earn more money. They wanna become millionaires. I totally get it. I ask you, what job do you have? Are you in college? And most of the time, no job right now. I'm delivering for DoorDash, right? Which again, nothing against DoorDash. And then the second thing is, I dropped out of college because college isn't for me. I'll never become a millionaire through college. No, you're a lazy bum. That's what it is. You have no direction in life. That's what it is, right? And you'd rather drop out of college because you heard some dumbass on a podcast tell you college is a scam. College is not a scam, bro. And you need to be able to juggle all 3 just to realize just how difficult becoming a millionaire will truly be. But instead, you're cruising through life on mediocre mode. What does that mean? You're waking up late, right? You're delivering a few deliveries for DoorDash just to make ends meet. Right? You come home and you're living that cycle. You're 18 now, but then you wake up, you're 23, you're trading stocks and NFTs and doing Forex thinking you're gonna become a millionaire that way. You won't, bro. I promise you won't. If you can't do these 3 I'm putting in front of you, which are relatively easy, right? It's just gonna take a lot of work. It's a lot of risk, right? Chances are you won't become a millionaire. Because, and I swear to God, if somebody else mentions to me, well, Mark Zuck dropped out of college, Jeff Bezos, bro, these men had substantial businesses already valued hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion, before they decided, you know what, I'm quitting school because I'm devoting my life to this. If you're gonna drop out of college, whatever you're doing out of college should be a whole order of magnitude more difficult than whatever degree you chose to go to. And again, don't choose an easy degree, right? But the point here is to train you for life, to train you just how difficult it will be to time manage multiple projects, multiple things, and to sacrifice time and to be great across all those 3 things. That's the point of this first step, right? And when you're young, it's easy to get started in this. But let's say, you know what, you already dropped out of college, this is not an option for you. I'm not saying that college is the only way to become a millionaire, right? But I did all 3. I went to college, I built my business, I worked on my body, and I had a job. So I was doing all 4 at the same time. It's possible. And it taught me discipline. Being able to deliver projects on time, both for my job, for my business, and for school. It also taught me to be excellent. It also taught me to be able to sacrifice. It taught me multiple things, being able to do all 4 things at once. I want you to gain the same life experiences from this process. But again, let's say you choose not to go to college, right? You're like, Jose, I'm done. I'm not going to college. Cool. I need you to at least be making 70 to 100,000, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And it's funny. I actually got a DM. Damn, I'm getting hot, bro. I'm like, I'm like hyped up. I got a DM the other day, and this dude, right, I don't respond to a lot of them. I respond to the ones where I feel like I can really provide value. And this dude, he posted a hypothetical question from me. He's like, yo, Jose, hypothetical question. He's like, say you had no audience, no following, no businesses. You had to pay $600 in credit card debt. That's just to service the debt. You only had $300 in your bank account. You had 2 car notes to pay, and rent is due in about 2 weeks, and it's like $1,200. What would you do? That was the question he posted for me immediately. As soon as I read that, I started sending him voice memos, and I detailed exactly what I would do if I was in his shoes, because I've been in his shoes. The first thing I said is, I would drop everything, and from Monday through Sunday, I would become a true slave. Like, I would work relentlessly. I'm talking 12-hour shifts a day. I would download every single delivery app. DoorDash, Instacart, I don't care what it is. I'm downloading it all. I'm gonna go in the city. I'm turning that on at 8 in the morning and I'm shutting it off at 8 at night. I'm putting in 12-hour shifts. And it's funny, I actually did it for the video. You probably already watched it. I don't know if it's dropping now or after this, but I did it for a video. And on average, on a single day, on a weekday, you can make about $220 here in the city delivering, right? Extrapolate that out. That means that's $1,600 a week. That's $6,100 a month. That's $74,000 a year. And I'm not even done. The next voice memo, I'm like, you're not done. By 8 o'clock, you go home, and from 8 to 11, I want you to apply to every single remote job you can find within that 20 to 40,000 a year range. Because these are low-level jobs. This is usually customer service, personal assistant, basic social media management and posting. These are jobs that you can pretty much do an hour a day of work and get the job done. And they'll pay you anywhere from 20 to 40,000. I want you to then go home, build an Excel sheet, and every day you're gonna send out 40 resumes every day. That means at the end of the week, you're gonna be around 240 to 250 resumes. You're gonna do this for a few months until you land a job. Congratulations. Once you score that job, you are now in the top 18% of earners. You will be making anywhere from 90 to 120,000 a year. You will also be killing yourself, right? Because now your job schedule will be from 6 in the morning to 7, right? For your online job, then from 8 to 8 on DoorDash, and then from 9 to 11. You're gonna barely be sleeping. You're gonna be physically exhausted. You're gonna be a true slave, but congratulations. You have now entered the top 80% of the world. And also, I've given you an actual roadmap to get to that magical 6 figures. It's not that magical. It's just gonna take everything out of you. Want to know what the guy's response was? I almost started laughing. I was like, this is ridiculous. And I quote, he said, LOL, Jose, I live in South Jersey and you don't make that much money down here. And for me to get to the city, it's about an hour and a half drive, which is too far for me. Which honestly, it's a similar response that 99.9% of you probably had. Once you heard that crazy schedule, what did most of you think? You said, whoa, I don't want to be a slave. Work-life balance, right? Oh, that's too much. That's what most of you thought. But again, it has to be that hard. Remember, that's filtering process number 1. Brute force labor, right? The ability to make sacrifices and almost put your body as second, your mental health at second, because you're willing to make that sacrifice. That's filtering process number 1. Remember, 99.9% of you need to vanish so the 0.1 can become millionaires. That's just how the market works. So most of you will get filtered out by just understanding how difficult it is to get to the 6-figure mark. He's one of those guys, right? Because an hour and a half, are you kidding? I sent him a voice memo. I'm like, bro, then wake up at 4. What do you mean? When I used to go to school, I used to drive an hour 20 down to school. That's what it took down in Florida. It took me an hour 20 to get to school, and I was still doing all 4. There's always an excuse that you can pose in front of you to not do the hard work, because nobody wants to do the hard work. And that's filtering process number 1. But we're not even done. We're not even done. Because after about, let's say 6 months of you earning 90 to 120,000, that's your range. If you do this right, you're now going to be able to pay off all your debt, which is what I want you to focus on. I don't want you to be spending on stupid things. I want you to pay off all your debt, the debt that has you choked up, feeling like quicksand. I've been there so many times. I know exactly what it feels like when knowing your credit cards are maxed out, knowing that your bank account is at negative and you can't pay for anything because now you have bills that just come in. You're not even living paycheck to paycheck. You're barely surviving. This is going to allow you to get out of that. All right, I want you to pay off everything that has you choked up. That's what I want you to do for 6 months. And then, right, you can breathe, you have that physical toll on you from just how excruciating the work you're putting in is. Then I want you to scale back your work hours. But again, to get to $1 million, it won't just be brute force labor. You're gonna have to use your brain as well. You're gonna start acting like a business almost, right? So you're gonna look at your working hours. Look at your hours that are the least operable, right? Or the hours that aren't earning you as much money. So out of your 8 to 8, usually mornings are busy, Lunch is busy, but there's this dead time. After lunch and right once work ends, there's that dead time. Those 3 hours, you're gonna stop delivering. You're gonna shut off your apps. And yes, your income's gonna drop about $10,000 to $30,000, give or take, but you're still a high earner. You're still in like the high 80s, 90s, low hundreds, right? So you're gonna stop delivering and then you're gonna start delivering again for nighttime, for dinner time, right? You're gonna be strategic with the 2 to 3 hours you stop. Those are now gonna be 3 hours that you're gonna be using for yourself as personal time, to go back to school. But here's the thing. You're not going back to your traditional institution. You're not applying to any college. Instead, you will be taking those 3 hours to bust your ass, drive to a library, drive to a coffee shop. I don't care where you go. You park and you start working. And for those 3 hours, you will bust your ass reading every business book, every real estate book, any content creation book, any podcast you can get your hands on. And I want you to pick a high earner, something you like, and focus fully on that for those 3 hours. And you're gonna do that every single day, Monday through Sunday. And this is gonna be 10 times harder than you ever going to a college, which is why I recommend it to you. If you're young, if you're 17, 18, do those first 3 first. Get used to those skill sets first, because you're gonna have to apply them later on. So now you're still going to college, you're still doing the reading, you still have to do the study, you still have to do the homework, you have to process information, and even worse, you're going to have to put it into action, and you're gonna have to be fully self-disciplined to do so. There's no teacher telling you there's a deadline, no teacher telling you how to take notes. You're doing that all by yourself. You're gonna have to learn how to learn, you're gonna have to learn how to take notes, you're gonna have to learn how to process information, you're gonna have to learn how to execute on ideas, and more importantly, you're gonna have to learn how to be disciplined enough to put timelines on yourself, right? You're gonna have to be like, all right, this book, I have to finish it in a week. This concept, this project, I need to implement it in the next month. You're gonna have to learn how to do all of this by yourself. It will be 10 times more difficult than ever going to college. And here's where it gets even harder, right? Here's where I'm gonna like stab the wound a little bit. You're gonna get graded, but it won't be A, B, C, D, E, F, right? You won't get a teacher just giving you an F because you sucked at the test. You're gonna be getting an F from the market. What that means is that when you invest $1,000 or $10,000 of your hard-earned money that you've been busting your ass to do so in an idea or a business venture or a project that you think can execute and generate you some cash, it's probably gonna fail. It's probably gonna flop on its face. That's your F, right? That's your D. You've just failed at an idea and you've lost money, and that's gonna hurt more than any F you ever got in college. And let me make the heartache even worse. 99.9% of everything you touch will probably fail. That's just the name of the game, bro. I've been in this long enough. Even at this stage, I feel like I'm salty sometimes, bro. Like I feel like everything I touch sometimes, it's just an L, bro. It's just a loss, and it happens. Because as you're learning, as you're scaling, as you're progressing, you're gonna be doing concepts that you've never done before. You won't do them right, even if you read it in a book, right? It'll take life experience and a bunch of trial and error. It is part of success. It'll take you multiple failures. So now it's a lot of cash and time that you're actually burning. And this is when you're gonna wanna quit, right? Because keep in mind, put yourself in those shoes. You're now physically burnt out because of just how much work you're doing. You're also mentally burnt out because of how much information you're processing. And then you're gonna be morally burnt out because of just how many failure after failure after failure you're facing when you're seeing your friends party, you're seeing your friends have a nice time, your family's relaxing, but you're out here beating your ass up. Why? This is filtering process number 2. This is where most of you will stop and be like, what's the point? Why am I even doing this? And again, I'm speaking to you from experience. I've been here twice already in that position where I just look up and I'm like, why? Why am I stressing myself out this much? That's what you're gonna feel. And you're gonna want everything in your body to just quit. Just go back to normal. At this point, you'd just rather take the debt that you were facing when you first started this. And now let me break your heart more. When you're failing, and things are tough, things are hard, everything in your body and your mind will tell you, man, just hold on a little bit longer, maybe just one more week, maybe just one more month, and this is gonna work. It never does. There's this rule called Murray's Law. I truly live by that rule. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. That's how you should see business. Don't pray for the best. Don't be crazy optimist. More likely than not, the idea will fail, and you will fail for a long time. It might not be weeks, it might not even be months, it could be years that you could be in that process of failure and trial and failure and test and failure. It could be years. And that's that second filtering process. Most of you will not hold on long enough. And remember what I said when I started, it should be that. It should be that hard. You should feel like wanting to quit every single day, because 99.9% of other people feel the same thing. They all feel the same thing, but there'll be 0.1% that's a little psychotic and just keeps pushing. Just keeps pushing through the pain. Keeps pushing, keeps knocking on doors, keeps networking, keeps reading, keeps trying, keeps failing. Again, Most of you will not make it past this point, but if you do, congratulations, you're very close to becoming a millionaire. And now all I want you to do is extend your timeline, right? You're doing everything right. You're a high earner, you're a top 18%. You're processing information, right? You're disciplined enough to put yourself timelines, projects, you know when you need to execute on ideas, right? You're not just sitting stagnant, because most guys want to become a millionaire. They're on this hamster wheel doing the same thing every single day and then hoping they just trip over $1 million, some brilliant idea, and they become millionaires. Look, I'm not teaching you how to become Charlie D'Amelio and get lucky with it, or how to buy some NFT and hopefully make it 1,000x and get to $1 million. That's a casino. I'm teaching you real world applications on how to get $1 million. And then I'm teaching you how difficult and how hard it has to be and how comfortable you should be with that mentality so you can get to the $1 million. And once you get to this point, and now you extend your timeline, how many times do I tell you this? Yo, my timeline now is like 40, 50 years. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with losing everything right now, and I can do it all over again. And I'll keep pushing. I've been in that point twice in my life. I can do it a third time. I can do it a fourth time. I can do it a fifth time at this point, right? I know what's on the other side. I know how much it's going to suck. I already know. My mind is set. It's going to be a hard process. And that's where I want to get your mind at. I want you to understand that getting to $1 million will not be an easy process. And now I want you to then extend your timeline. So if you're 17, I want you to think a decade out. I want you to think, all right, for the next decade, till I'm 27, I will bust my ass to get to the $1 million. And it doesn't matter how much you fail. Once you extend your timeline enough and you enter with this mentality and not the mentality of trying to get rich in the next 10 months, right? What's gonna end up happening is if you get rich in the next 2 years, listening to me, bro, great, you hit the nail early, awesome, enjoy the fruits of your labor. But if you don't, which is what will happen most of the time, great too, right? Because you're already with that understanding. You're okay, you're able to take that turmoil and you will be less likely to quit early, because that's what I want you to understand. I want you to keep failing and keep failing. And when you're failing and you're feeling like terrible, I want you to think to yourself, remember me and think to yourself, it has to be this way. It should feel this way. If it doesn't feel this way, you're probably not on the track to make $1 million. You're probably not pushing hard enough. And then keep this up for a very long time, right? Keep learning, keep creating content, keep building businesses, keep whatever angle you want to take, just keep perfecting the craft. And this is the hardest part, right? Once you've extended your timeline, can you keep momentum? Notice, right? I want your timeline to be as soon as you leave high school should have been your easy years. Once you graduate high school, I want you to go full throttle, right? You're going full throttle across the board, across your life, through discipline, through work ethic. Forget the whole work-life balance, mental health BS. People that think that way will not make it to the $1 million. And again, if you want something more stable, something that probably won't include as many failures, yo, get a higher earner degree, right? Get something in STEM and science and engineering. Get something that's a higher earner degree. Go work for any corporation as a high skill set individual and then work your way up. That's the traditional way to do it. But if you're going the untraditional way, it will be messy. It will be difficult. And now you have to learn how to keep that same sustained level of output, that same energy, even when you're losing. And this is increasingly difficult. And this is the next filtering process, right? Even if you make it past the 1% and now you're earning $300,000 a year, 400, can you sustain that for a long time? This is that last filtering process. Again, you're drained across the board, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and you're failing. And then you can compound, your friends making fun of your little business and side hustle, your family looking down on you, right? You have to compound all these other exterior factors. You're physically tired. It's been 3-4 years. You don't get why you're doing it. Can you sustain that same momentum? That's that last filtering process. Remember, we're going from that. Now you're in the top 5% and you're trying to enter the 0.1%. So you're even in the top 5%. By the way, congratulations, you've made it to the elite side of the world. But to enter the 0.1%, you're gonna have to sustain that momentum. And here's a little secret for you, bro. You won't die. You'll feel like you need a mental health break. You'll feel like you're burnt out, this, that, and you won't die. It is impressive what the human body can do. It is truly impressive what your body can do when you put that thing against the wall. You have two options. You either die or you evolve and survive. There's this great quote. Look, I'm a Christian man. I believe in God. God has given me everything I have. The energy, the mind, the creativity, everything God has given me. There's this quote by Charles Darwin, and he talks about, it is not the smartest or most intelligent or strongest species that survive. It is that one that is willing to adapt to change. So the more pressure you put on yourself, the harder the tasks are, the harder the challenges, and the more you force yourself to evolve, You'll be impressed at what you can accomplish. And then, once you've entered the millionaire, you've listened to me, you've sustained for a long time, a decade has passed, you became the millionaire you wanted to become, congratulations. Hold on for dear life. Because once you enter this realm of 0.1%, at least myself, you'll never be satisfied. It'll never stop. It's a bug now, right? And you'll want the next level. You'll want the 10 million. You'll want the 100 million. You'll want the billion. And the problem becomes that every level is just as increasingly hard, right? Every level has its set of challenges. It won't be the same as when you first started, but it will be just as hard. So just hold on, you just hold on for dear life. But I will leave you with this. If you made it to the end, you probably are part or getting close to that 0.1%. Again, you want to know what the first filtering process, and I didn't put it in the beginning of the video because I knew most people were going to click off. It's a long video, right? The first filtering process is your short attention span. So out of that 99.9% that will never become millionaire, I would say 40% clicked off early. They couldn't sustain a 20-minute video. It's too long for them. That's that first filtering process. That was the easy level. Most of you did not pass. But if you made it all the way to the end, congratulations, you're at least in the top 60%, right? You've consumed all the information, which you're gonna have to do a lot of in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years to get to where you want to be. Remember, self-discipline. You're gonna have to learn how to consume the information, process it, and then execute, because that's important. It's not just watching this stuff. But once you get here, I will leave you with this. Enjoy. Enjoy the spoils of your labor. I have no remorse or feel bad for buying the things that I buy. I love when I buy a watch or when I can take my family on a great vacation, right? Or it's some luxury event, car or house or penthouse. I'm okay with all of it, right? You should enjoy it because you want, at the end of the day, you do want to enjoy the spoils of your hard labor, because it is increasingly hard. And the best part is when you're at the top of the mountain, breathing that fresh air, and you no longer have to look at your credit card. You no longer have to look at your bank account. Shoot, you don't even remember what the cost of an egg is or of a gallon of milk. That's that best feeling. That's why you work so hard. So your kids can get whatever they want. So they can have opportunities you never had. So your girl can live a great life. So your family can live a great life. So you can change the outcome of your last name, of your entire lineage. That's why we do what we do, man. So if you truly want to become a millionaire, you follow these steps. You do it for a very long time. I want you to come back to this video. I guarantee you're gonna get there.